What, did you get the new one? Is it out?
Yeah. Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is November 8th, 2020. And Howard, what a bounce last
Winter.
week.
Yeah, the fall is here in Phoenix finally.
Yeah. Did you get any rain?
Yeah, I think the market acted like it was in the end surprised. The first move in 2016 was down, right?
Overnight.
And
Yes.
yeah, and the first move here is strong up. So I guess the surprise would be a flip Senate at this point, but we won't know for a few months, so it'll be interesting. I think what's the most interesting this week is how quickly the VIX went from 40 and feared to frothy. I mean, today I'm seeing, Bitcoin at 15K, got Ethereum at pushing 500-ish, and even I'm speculating a little bit again. So it's like a little bit frothy over in the course of a week. It's really fascinating. So, anyways, go pull up the market and then refresh everybody what we were talking about last week. We got a lot right.
Yeah. So were you a net buyer or a net seller last week?
Net nothing. I mean, I think by the end of the week and tomorrow, I'm a net seller. I got some dead weight marijuana stuff that I've held. I mean, I don't know because I remember I invest in a lot of funds. And some venture funds in crypto and weed, and they had incredible weeks. So I don't know if there's and as me personally, I'm always a net seller on strength that I didn't expect. We'll get into some of the individual stocks, but I mean, the markets look beautiful.
Yes, definitely. I mean, incredible bounce. So many stocks up 15, 20% or more over the past 5 days. Obviously, last week with all the major averages, large caps below the 50-day kind of looking weak, and so much change in 1 week. The only thing that hasn't really changed is correlations, which is kind of typical. During corrections and during the initial phase of a recovery, correlations are still high, but then or if this is the beginning of another leg higher, we should see correlations go down and then individual stocks starting to trend in their own way, regardless what the indices are doing. So maybe here we might see some.
I think we started to see that. If you think about China, biotech, and social networks like Pinterest, Snapchat, I mean, you're starting to see it's a lot of, I've never had bigger moves, which is weird, right? Snapchat, is doubled in a month. What has really changed other than people's opinion? This thing, right? Like they've done a better job than the other networks. I saw Zillow went from 90 to 120 in a week. I mean, that stock was at 30. So this week alone added, so, and it ticked 20. So this is a great company. I remember in March saying buy internet brands, like just great internet brands. But the stock move this week is more than the stock was worth in March. So you have to, and again, a breakaway is a breakaway and a gap is a gap and strength is strength, and you make money riding trends, but it's not supposed to be this good, even if you get things right. So, I'm trying to respect the fact, you asked if I was a seller over a buyer. I'm trying to respect the fact that there was so much fear in March. And so I'm a net seller. I mean, and look at China, right? Like, at the same time, I'm a little nervous. Alibaba was in a panic mode a couple of days ago over the Ant news, and it was kind of a buy the dip amidst. So there's just opportunity out there, as there's just a lot of new money maybe and a lot of hot money coming in and out of the market. I can't figure it out, but it's running around. And it's sure, if we go back to my land-based stocks, and I'll let you take over, is if you look at Simon Property, COVID still is got a lid on the old world, right? Simon Properties looks dead.
Yeah.
Boeing, a little bit of a bounce, but dead. So, right, like we still have the same themes. New president, possibly, likely. Same themes. COVID has a blanket on the economy of old. Exxon, look at Exxon. So it's like there's real structural change going on. And then look at First Solar. I mean, talk about like polar opposite.
Yeah. Anything clean energy just continues to be hot, and especially with the new administration.
And I like that volatility. If we go back to First Solar, it's like I don't know. Again, these can't be big positions, but I don't really understand the underlying fundamentals. But this volatility near a major high, I just think the trend will go in the direction that it's coming in, and I think this could leave some people behind. So you got to manage your position size for the volatility, but you're basically at all-time highs. You know, anybody who bought in 2011 is buried, is gone, right? Gave up. Yeah. And so, sorry, my dog's barking. So I'm saying this volatility around the highs, and you say the same thing in the biotechs, right? Like this volatility around near the highs should resolve itself higher. You know, forgetting who's president, the moment the rates are low, more easing is coming, or more money is coming, more tech is coming, right? There's so many mad investors on both sides right now. Trump supporters are mad and they think the market will crash. Markets don't crash because of who's president. Markets crash over fundamentals, and no one knows the fundamentals of. So you have all this switching and like mad trading and mad tweets that lead to like behavior. You're so mad that Biden's president, you're going to sell stocks, or you're so mad that Trump, you know what I mean? And we saw that in 2016. People were so mad that they sold the market, and then it was hard to get back in for 3 months. Here, it's a little different, but because we've come so far, but there's so many industries that should be forever changed from COVID, etc. So now you take us through what you were saying.
So let me summarize first what happened last week. So basically everything went up, everything with the exception of the US dollar, which was completely smashed, which kind of reflects the market expectations for,
yeah, I forgot about that.
Loose monetary policy for a lot of fiscal spending, debt forgiveness, or whatever's coming. But the US dollar was absolutely crushed, which obviously is helping anything that is measured in US dollars, with the exception of oil stocks, as we already mentioned that. But anything.
Give me an example. You mean like emerging market stocks, just to help people?
US stocks, foreign stocks, small cap, mid cap, large cap.
Helps everything. A weak dollar helps everything, Ivan.
Of course, because everything is measured in the US dollar, right? So obviously,
okay, well, I'm asking you to explain it to people. So some people think it helps just emerging markets. I think, like you said, it helps if everything's measured in US dollars and the dollar is weak, asset prices probably
historically, go up. Stock market has been the best inflation protection tool. So it's the best place to protect the purchasing power of your money. So if you look at the $1 in 2000, it has the same purchasing power as like $1.50 today. So, but if you are in stocks in 2000, the market is up, like multiples since the 2000. So obviously, if you kept your money in the stock market, your purchasing power is protected a lot better.
And I would argue this, Ivan, that because of the printing, I think this is why people are chasing even further high growth, because of the exact same phenomenon that people are extrapolating, that the dollar is only going to get worse over the next 20 years. So you better own the highest growth stocks or the best assets. And to be honest, Bitcoin's going up and gold probably very soon, because Bitcoin is the best asset if you believe, if you believe there's only 21 million, and you trust the technology and the people shilling Bitcoin. And by shilling, I use that term in a loving way. Bitcoin is the perfect asset for a digital world, a digital inflationary world. And, you know, the Bitcoiners may not be perfectly happy because they thought it was going to change the world, you know, with this and decentralization. It's really just become a better store of gold for the NASDAQ focused. But if you look at gold, I mean, how do you not own that?
Yes, I mean, definitely that's a bullish move. After 3 months of a pullback, now we have a move above the previous month's high. I mean, that's a bullish
Yeah, I'm long.
signal.
I've been long a small position, and it's going to be hard for me to just get rid of that. So again, I was a net seller, Ivan, on some of my tech stocks. But other than that, I'm looking to buy things still. Like I'm actually in a buying mood. So keep going. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
Last week, I paid attention to the sectors and the stocks that made 52-week highs ahead of the indices, since the indices haven't still made new 52-week highs, because those industries have the potential to become the new leaders. And you know, many other than China internet or China in general, which was the first one to kind of break out, even the previous week. Definitely notable breakout, despite the weakness of Alibaba, which is the biggest holding.
And this could be just a vote on how the world sees Biden as weak on China. This could be. I think it was going higher no matter who was president.
Yeah. And then the other moves was like a lot of moves in techs actually. Even US internet also made new 52-week highs.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at Square. Social. Look at Square. I mean, talk about, you know, a move. How is that bearish? I mean, forgetting to put your valuation earmuffs on at 200 times earnings. Okay, this is not
growth. Triple-digit sales growth. I mean, that's a
at
major acceleration.
At their size, it's spectacular. So again, you and I can't comment on the fundamentals here. The fundamentals are good. Are they 200 PE good? No. This is a textbook that you and I have no idea. It's not being written by anybody sane. This is being written by other fundamentals in the economy going on that the world can't quite comprehend. And it's a very difficult market for people with some level that are used to looking at Excel spreadsheets and adding things up based on textbooks. But if you look at the underlying structure of the world, it starts to make a little bit of sense. I really have full respect for the classic trend followers that are in their 30s that should be riding this for everything it's got. For the swing traders like yourself that just are sticking to a system, I'm a little too old to be comfortable with this, and I've been sharing that feeling. But the one thing I'm happy, if you're shorting this market, you're just not looking about it right now. If you're shorting this market, I mean, even the banks, which I would say short, are nowhere near a short after last week. I mean, you need a lot more weakness for me to get excited about shorting these. JP Morgan got back above 100.
I mean, nothing exciting, but...
No, but you know what I mean? It's hard to short. If I was going to short a sector, this is where it would be, and you're not going to make money. You know, rates are kind of sneaking up a little bit. Biotech was the other big, move.
Well, Biogen had like, I don't know, 40-50% of it was just gigantic. It went from new 52-week lows to 52-week highs in one day, in 1 week, which is just incredible. But the other industries that I noticed that made 52-week highs ahead of the indices was automation. So anything related to automation, just kind of breaking out.
I've never heard of that ETF. What are some of the stocks in there?
So I think, what was it? Brookfield Automation, BRK. What was the other one? There's several.
We can look it up on Koifin, but that's an interesting symbol.
Yeah, IPHI, I think, is one of them. There's several. They had like a few good earnings breakouts.
Hold that one back, Ivan. Aroba, I'll have to pull that up on Koifin. Hang on, I'm just going to go. Give me a second here while I just learn here on the fly. Thanks for pointing that one out. Hang on, Robo. The ticker symbol's Robo, Ivan?
Yeah.
Robo ETF. If you go to, I'm just going to the ticker. I'm just trying to find out.
Yeah. I mean, I researched that yesterday, so let me pull that up too. Okay, I have it. So we have
Oh,
Zebra.
I have it too. So we've got Zebra. That's been on fire.
Yeah.
Uh,
Breakout after earnings.
but there's no real big weighting. It's very diversified. So a lot of international companies, iRobot's in there, which I don't love.
Exactly.
ServiceNow is in there, and NVIDIA. Huh. Okay. So, but I'm definitely, that's an interesting one.
Yeah. I mean,
It doesn't feel iSurge. Yeah, iSurge, which I own. Okay, Intuitive Surgical. Okay, so it's kind of a very interesting poor man's way to play this. Okay, Robo.
Yeah. Medical devices as well. New 52.
Yeah, I'm long IHI. I've been long forever. This is like, medical instruments. This is a poor man's way to play medical instrument boom. This is a global boom.
Yeah. Clean energy, obviously, big trends. Not only because of the new administration, but it's a big macro trend worldwide.
I think that this was this is a good reminder for the next panic when they write off everything. Like this went down with oil and everything else, clean energy to 22 to more than a triple.
Yeah.
From lows. This is an ETF, for God's sake.
Yeah. And then the US marijuana stocks.
Yes, I'm long MSOS. This Todd Harrison I've been talking to and sharing some videos. This is the purest, only New York Stock Exchange ETF of the United States, what they call them MSOS, which is multi-state operators. So just went public, you can buy it anywhere. This is what my favorite voices in weed and cannabis are long. This is a proxy. And because there's a lot of pink sheet stocks underneath this because of the US banking, et cetera, and legal. So I am long this and was buying it this week. And I've been sharing that with people. But every state that had it on the ballot was a fucking blowout for this, right? Even in South Dakota, it came through. Mississippi had medical marijuana approved. This was like a blowout election for marijuana. And again, I don't use the products, but what an opportunity to own. This is like buying the payments, right? Look at the volume in that this week. Look at that. That's an ETF that's not even been discovered. That's an ETF that has not been discovered. So that should be on people's radar if you want exposure to American weed and don't want to do the work on the companies. That's what I did. And you're going to get pullbacks, but these are the type of things that I could see 50 before it pulls back with that volume because there's no sellers. There's no reason to sell this. The only thing that can happen is the Senate actually flips blue, which would be, that's pricing in a red Senate right now. If the Senate flips blue, this could even get better for marijuana. So that, I don't know if there's a better idea.
We wouldn't know before January, right? So
we won't know until January, yeah. So there should be some pullbacks along the way.
Yeah, and basically this is it. I mean, quite a few teams, quite a few industries making new 52-week highs ahead of the indices. I think tonight the futures are up again, which from a swing trading perspective is kind of hard to chase them when you have a big gap in the morning.
Correct. This is a trend followers kind of move this week. That I could tell that you'd be a seller mode. You're looking for fresher ideas that are just breaking out. I mean, look at Farfetch, one that I've been talking about here for weeks.
Yeah, definitely. They had a big contract with Alibaba, which kind of caused this.
How do you get in here? I don't know. I sold a little, even though I'm bullish. Like,
if you buy the breakout, or if you're a swing trader, you buy right here above that intraday tight range.
I was buying early just because I'm trying to get ahead of these people, and I'm willing to wait a couple months on some of these because as an older investor, I can't chase these things. I just don't have the skills, and I just have too much history in my brain to buy stocks up 40% up. Right? We're used to selling 20% above the breakout, not buying. So there's some new rules that I'm struggling with myself. People should not get so hard on themselves. There's a lot working. I think Stitch Fix, which is the weaker, I've always said, of the two. I went in and speculated on this over the last 2 weeks, even though I don't like the product. I can see at that valuation that company gets bought in the 10 billion range at some point if they just survive. And so you've got, I'm just playing the corp dev game in my head and going, here's a $3 billion company, you know, that the core audience loves, founder still in there. Doesn't work for me, the product, but if you go back and look at a monthly,
Yeah.
it's stronger than Revolve. I've checked them all in here. Like it's this one and Farfetch. And they're the two winners here short term. It's the ones that the investors understand and want.
Yeah.
So Revolve maybe, but I don't hear it getting talked about. Look at that. Like that's a breakout from the IPO. This could see $100.
Major breakout.
Major breakout.
Yeah, Revolve is not yet working on it.
It's got a lot of work to do, and I just haven't heard anybody talk about it in the wild.
Yeah, well, right? Coming up, so that could change a lot.
Yeah. Okay, anything else that you see tightly wound?
I mean, that's it. As I said, we covered so much because so much is looking good. And as you said, right now, there's so many setups that are looking very similar to the QQQ and the SPY, and both of them are looking bullish with that tight range consolidation here. But if we see another big gap tomorrow, like my thinking is that we might see some profit taking, at least early in the morning.
Yeah, we need some good COVID news. I just don't understand the SPY trade here for people. There's just too much drag in the.
You're right. Talking about COVID, actually, quite a few of those COVID stocks are kind of setting up again. Like all the vaccine stocks are starting.
Where's that LAKE? That was one that kind of.
Yeah, that's an equipment stock, but yeah, AAPT too. They're kind of starting to look a little bit better. Codex, as you said, all the COVID plays are starting to kind of set up.
Yeah, that's been volatile. Wow, 300 to 100 back to 300. Whew. Those are too hard for me. Okay, but yeah, I think that makes sense under Democratic leadership. They may take this more seriously. But again, there's so much working. I'd rather go Zoom and tech over companies I don't understand and don't know their business models beyond COVID. Because in the end, no matter how bad COVID persists another year, these things, it will end, and people in America will take off their masks. Okay, all right. Have a great week.
You too, Howard.
Good night. Goodbye, everybody.
Right.